Hello everybody, and welcome to a very interesting video. I say that with every video, because all of my videos are interesting and you're legally not allowed to disagree with me. Anyways, I hopefully this video will be completely unedited, and I'm just able to say everything I need to as fast as possible. So, new Rainbow Six ideas. Let's go let's get right into it. Let's zoom all the way in because this is the video. This is it. You're looking at the video right here. So, can I go into like view mode? No, that doesn't help. Okay. So, let's go into the balancing changes. Let's actually probably start off with the changes from December 2020 or November 2020. So, um, we have a new Defender secondary gadget. I'll be honest, I haven't read these in a while. But new Defender secondary gadget. You get an object that you can place that will destroy two projectiles with a 45-second delay in between. I think I changed it to 80 seconds because 45 seconds was too short. I don't really know what the delay will be, but it's going to be a long delay. Um, so yeah, I thought of like, okay, so we're gonna have Smoke. He's gonna be losing wires. Doc will be losing wires. Tachanka will lose wire. Mira will lose her proximity alarm. Legion will lose his bulletproof cam. Clash will lose her impacts. Goyo will lose his nitro, and Oryx will lose his proximity alarm. But I don't really know. I don't know, and I came up with something. I didn't do it with any of the other stuff, but I just came up with it. We'll see. Next, uh, so by the way, let me go through. I can't speed through it too much. I have to go and explain some stuff, right? So, um, very simply, right? It's going to be like a small little gadget you can place on the ground, and it's a secondary gadget, right? So multiple operators can have it. And the whole idea is that it's going to essentially act like Jaeger's ADS, and it will destroy two projectiles, the same projectiles that Jaeger can destroy later, right? Because we're going to be having some changes to Jaeger, and he's going to be able to, you know, oops, he's going to be able to. Oh my God, he's going to be able to change which it's going to change which projectiles he can destroy. Basically, the changes are Jaeger won't be able to destroy frag grenades or EMP grenades. So this new secondary gadget will have those same effects, where it will not be able to destroy EMP grenades or frag grenades as well. Next, secondary defender gadget, another one, similar to Bandit, right? So you can electrify. You get two. I say you only get one, but after careful consideration, I think you should get two. So let's make that red, because I'm going to signify with red the things that I think we should change. So red, that's going to signify that I don't want it. I want it to be two instead of one after careful consideration. Having never tested it, I'm just theorizing, right? New attacker secondary gadget. Um, Instead of, a breaching charge, you get to use a shotgun as a secondary gadget. Only comes with two full magazines worth of ammo. These shotguns will be the first secondary gadget with customization options, as you will be able to customize it just as if it were the primary shotgun. The shotguns in these cases will be removed as a primary weapon option. As you can see, Thatcher will be losing his breach charge. Thermite will be losing his stun grenades. Um, Twitch will be losing her breach charge, Jackal will be losing his breach charge, Lion will be losing his stun grenade, and Ace will be losing his breach charge. So, and as you can see here, we have the appropriate weapons that will be replaced. So, in this case, he will be losing the M590 as a primary option. Thermite will be losing the M10 as a primary option, but instead we'll be able to use an SR25. Okay. Twitch, she'll be losing her shotgun option for SGCQB, Jackal with the ITA-12L, Lion with the SGCQB, and Ace with the M1014, but he will be able to use the cameras. This is one idea. Obviously, not all of these ideas are completely cohesive, right? Why don't you take these November 2020 ideas and separate them from the February 2020 idea, the 2021 ideas, because they don't really mesh very well together. But just consider these ideas, and then maybe we can mix and match some of them in between, right? So other general changes. The first time you run out, you'll be detected in 1.3 seconds, the second time in 1.2 seconds, the third in 1.1 seconds, and every time after that in 1 second. So, the more times you run out, the lower delay you have in between. Because I don't like the 1 second delay. 1.3 I think is fine, but if you want to punish people who keep running out, I'm down for that. Nitro cells are faster to pull out and throw and are quieter, but you must wait 0.3 seconds longer before you are able to detonate them. Optional. I don't really care. I think nitro cells are fine. I think it would be interesting if they could change. It would be nice if there was a little bit more of a counter to them, because currently the only counter to nitro cell is shooting it. Um, so if there was a small delay giving them giving the attackers the option, more option to actually destroy them, um, and you don't have to be like, you don't have to have the aim of Shaiko in order to destroy the nitro cells, then yeah, I don't think there's a problem with that. Proximity alarms have a slightly larger range and beep faster depending on how close an attacker is to it. I actually really like that idea. I think that's a good idea. I forgot I wrote this down. This was months ago I wrote it down, obviously. Bulletproof gadgets other than mirror windows. So Evil Eyes, Rook Armor, deployable shields. Oh, by the way, Rook Armor is going to be bulletproof. Um, Deployable shields, castle barricades, banshees, and deployable/Goyo shields have a certain amount of health. We'll see. I'm not a huge fan of this, but we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what your opinions are, and then we'll base it off of that, right? And then I gave like an idea of how they could be destroyed. So the gadgets can be destroyed with 99 AR, LMG, and SMG rounds, 35 rounds from a DMR, including slug shotguns, except Boss G, 23 shotgun shots, assuming all pellets hit, 16 rounds from the OTS-03, 10 shots from the Boss G 12.2, and 6 shots from the CSR X300. 10 shots from the Boss G. Whatever. We'll see. These ideas are a little bit more out there, right? My February ideas, they're a lot more like closer to reality. Rook Armor. Armor has 7 vests and is just as bulletproof as Evil Eyes, but can be destroyed from explosives or any other way Evil Eyes could potentially be destroyed. So, yeah, I like the idea of having more vests than you need. Like, you have 5 vests now, and there's 5 defenders, so you don't have any left over. It'd be nice to have some leftover vests, which also could be picked up by attackers. I think that's really cool. I would hope to see that as a feature. And because it's bulletproof, you can't destroy it by shooting it. You can destroy it with explosives and by putting it on like hatches and destroying the hatch and stuff, right? But you can't shoot it to make it harder to destroy. Oh yeah, I gotta not ignore this. Glaz, he loses the GSH 18 and gains the SPS SMG 9. I'm gonna, later go back and change that to bearing 9, but yeah. Fuse, if a cluster charge is placed but not detonated and Fuse dies, the cluster charge will be automatically detonated. That actually, I do like that idea. I don't know why I marked it as red. I do like that idea. Um, Valkyrie. Once Valkyrie has died, the black eye cannot look around. If a black eye is outside, it will be active for 80 seconds before it will lose a signal, or if Valkyrie dies. So the effect of this is twofold. A, it forces Valkyrie to actually stay alive. She can't just throw her Valkyries and then roam around and die and act as if nothing happened. She actually has to stay alive for her black eyes to be more useful. They'll still be useful, but not as useful because being able to look around is a huge deal. Um, and if she throws it outside of the map, instead of it just being there until the end of the round, it's only there for 80 seconds. So a really long time, but if you're near like the later half of the round, those Valkyrie cameras will be disabled. Um, and I think 80 seconds is not that long. I mean, it's relatively long. It could be like, you know, a third of the round, so you could still make use of it, but yeah. Anyways, Ying is now immune to her teammate's flashbang. The T-95 supports the Razor Hollow sight. Yes. Yeah, why not? Sure, why not, right? I don't really care that much. Echo, um, 2 times scope on the MP5 SD. He has 1 more yokai. Yokai is required, and Dokebi can once again no longer hack to Echo's drone feed. I don't really like any of these changes, so I decided to red mark it, but yeah, maybe some people will. Frost. She gets one extra trap, but instead of dying when the timer is up, attackers will pull themselves out of the trap at 5 HP. I didn't really like this idea. Well, it might work. Yeah, but this one right here, this one's my favorite. In fact, I like it so much, I'm going to mark it yellow. Interrogations now have stages. You can choose to continue the interrogation for a longer time, resulting in the enemies getting spotted for longer. Holding the interrogation for every 3 seconds of extra time spent interrogating means an extra 4 seconds the mark will last, up to a maximum of 12 seconds spent interrogating. For a maximum of 16 additional seconds, the attackers will be marked. If you choose to go for an extended interrogation and die before it finishes, the interrogation marks will not happen. So, basically, it's higher risk, high reward, right? You can keep going for a longer interrogation and having the markers last for even longer, but the longer you spend doing the interrogation, the more risk you put yourself at. I mean, an extra 12 seconds. Actually, I think, honestly, I should probably bump this up to a bit. 5 seconds, right? 5 seconds. And then it would be like an additional 20 seconds. I hate this. Oh my god, I hate this keyboard. Right? Because 12 seconds spent interrogating, like, on top of someone, I think there should be a greater benefit for that. So yeah, higher risk, high reward. I think this is a fantastic idea. Lesion. Goo mines do an initial tick damage of 2, and the T5 SMG suits the MH1. I think everyone was like, they hated the idea of the goo mines doing 10 damage, and I agree. I hated that too. It was brutal. It was oppressive. 2 damage? Why not? It's almost insignificant, but if somebody's at very low health, they'll die. I don't know why I marked this red, actually. I like this idea. I think it's a good idea. Twitch drones now do 3 damage. Simple enough, right? Instead of doing 1 damage, they do triple that. So, you can tase people. If you tase somebody, you know, if somebody's down, and you tase them like 7 times, they'll die instead of 21 times or 20 times. Yeah. Ella, anyways, Ella, looking directly down, it's actually a change to her concussion mines. Looking down and going prone will remove the concussion effect 50% faster. Scorpion now supports the MH1. I don't see a problem with that. I think that's fine. Cloak lasts 12.5% longer. K1A supports the Comp M4S. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Once Lion dies, if he has any scans left, a scan will automatically happen after 20 seconds. Will happen 20 seconds after death. I don't see a problem with that. I think that's good. I don't know if I really like it. I think I do. I think I do really like it. It's a really good idea. Yeah. Well, I mean, punishing Lion players for dying. I mean, at the same time, it's like if you die, at least you're bringing something to the table, you know? Yeah, I don't see a problem with it. I don't know if I really like it, but I don't see a problem with it. Finca, Adrenal Sturges will give 5 permanent health. I've been saying this for literally since Finca came out. I'm like, please make it so that she gives permanent health. It doesn't have to be a lot, but at least some permanent health. I want a healer on attack. Currently, she's more of like a reviver and improve your accuracy and give you a little bit of damager. But now she can be a give you 5 permanent health, which is what I want. Okay, anyways, the adrenal stim lasts 10% by default. But even shorter depending on how far. What? Well, we'll see. But even shorter depending on how far from Finca her teammates are. Between 0 and 20 meters, it lasts the default amount of time. Same as Finca. Between 20 and 40 meters, it lasts 10% shorter. And 40 plus meters away, it lasts 15% shorter. Oh, you know what? This is supposed to be 10% longer. I forgot the word longer. So, does that make sense, right? Whatever the Finca's surge, whatever her surge time is right now, increase that by 10%. Now take that new time, right? So If you're between 0 and 20 meters, it will last that amount of time. Um, if you're between 20 and 40 meters, it will be 10% less. So arguably what it is in the live build. Um, if you are even further, it lasts even shorter. I say 15%, but maybe it should be even more extreme. Maybe these numbers should be like 15 and 30%, you know? Punish people for being very far away from Finca. I mean, also, yeah, no, I think this should be like 40%, and this should be 20%. I think that's actually good. And I do really like this idea, obviously. This is one of my favorite ideas. I've had it for a long time. I think it's a good idea. Depending on what stance Alibi is when she throws her Prisma, will determine the stance of the Prisma. So if she is prone and throws, well, I don't think that you should be able to do a Prisma when she's prone. So let's say crouched, right? So let's say if she is crouched, um, then the Prisma will be crouched. Gives a little bit more flexibility to it, right? So that way, you can have different stances, and it's not so obviously, a person that's crouching or a person that's standing still, right? So it could be either crouched or standing. It cannot be prone. I think that's okay. Alibi Maestro. Um, the ACS-12 has 15% better accuracy than out. I don't see a reason why not. Nobody's really using the thing. Might as well make it more fun for everyone, right? Clash Rebalance. Oh boy. Okay, so she gets the SPSMG9. Sorry, she loses that, and she gets the C75 Semi, which is the C75 Auto, but can only shoot in semi-auto and cannot switch to full auto. And then the Clash rework, the shield is now the primary gadget, not the weapon. The shield is no longer as tall as it is originally. The shield can be placed in the same fashion as a deployable shield. The shield will instead shoot electricity automatically if an enemy is in front of it. The recharge mechanic is still existent, but will need to fully recharge if the charge reaches 0. Her primary weapons will be the SGCQB and the 612. Some of this I'm okay with. Right? So imagine this. You have a shield that's being placed in the doorway. Well, you know what? I'm going to go further into it later. So we'll do that later, right? How about that? Tracks, stingers, do 15 damage. F90 suits the Razor. I don't think it needs to do 15 more damage. What I think is that she needs one more. Because that's what I was saying earlier, is that she needs one more tracks. But we'll see that later. F90 suits the Razor Hollow. Why not, right? Pest can hijack and control Zero's Argus cameras. Yes. Somebody called this out. I think it was Core Ross said that Mozzie should be able to do this, and I agree 100%. Nook. Um. Ooh, I forgot about this one. Um. So, she loses the 5-7 because it's already on so many different operators. Just get rid of it. But she gains the SPSMG9. Also, while her ability is active, she will not be marked by Kavera interrogations. I forgot about that. That's a good idea. That's a really good idea. I forgot about that. Yeah. All right. And also, will not make any sounds from proximity alarms. I go further into the proximity alarm thing later, so we'll see. Warden gains the Mark 17 CQB. Also, while his ability is active, he has the ability to see metal beams between floors, making it easier to shoot between them without worrying about accidentally shooting the beam. He also does not need to stand still to see through smoke, and the ability lasts 3 times as long. Okay. Okay, we'll see. We'll see, right? Amaru, after grappling into a location, she gets Adrenaline, a 5-second, 5% speed boost. Already a good idea, but I talk about that later. Callie, she loses the SPSMG9, loses the C75 Auto, and she gains the P90 and the UMP45 secondary weapons. Same attachment options as Doc and Castle respectively. The CSRX 300 has 50% reduced hipfire reticle. Enemies down from the CSRX 300 have to wait 0.2 seconds longer before they are able to move. Now remember, this was before the infamous Callie nerf that happened not too long ago. So this was back when Kali was actually usable. Yeah, I don't know. I have different Kali ideas that I think will compensate for her lack of your fighting ability. So we'll get to that later. Yana, unlimited Gemini duration. Instead of it dissipating when she exits, it will instead stay in the exact position she left where she can go back to it later. The replicator will continue to exist after she has died. To destroy the replicator manually, hold the melee or fire button key. It will dissipate then. I forgot about this part. Yeah. I forgot to include that because I talk about that later, but yeah. Oryx, knocking an enemy to the ground will take them 30% longer to recover than normal. Knocking an enemy into a wall will take them 50% longer. Actually, I like this idea. I don't like the first idea, I like this idea. Nope, sorry, not red. There we go. He also climbs up hatches 50% faster than normal. I don't know about this one, but this one right here I like a lot. Melusi, instead of Melusi having all of her banshees at the beginning of the round, she instead has to wait for them to be created, which takes 50 seconds each. Okay, I don't know about the 50 seconds each. I think it should take 30 seconds each. She will only have 3. I mean, other than the 50 seconds part, yeah, good idea. Last but not least, Zero takes 20%. I forgot about this one. Zero takes 20% longer to be interrogated because he doesn't give up as easily. Only for the initial interrogation, does not stack with the extended interrogation. I like this idea as well. So yeah, I think the rest of them are ideas already talked about in my other video. Go check that out. So, moving on to my November 2020 ideas. 2021, sorry, ideas. So these ideas I came up with literally today. Sorry, February 2021 ideas. I came up with these ideas today, so let's take a look. And this is some of them are in conflict, right? So take what we've talked about so far and separate all of those ideas from these ideas, right? Imagine two different builds. One where all of these changes are present and one where all of the other changes are present. Now you can mix and match which ones you think would work, but I'm just throwing out a bunch of ideas and obviously not all of them. I don't want all of these changes to be placed at the same time. In fact, some of them, contradict each other. So keep that in mind when I go through this, right? So basically, pretend as if I made a new video. Long barrel keeps max damage up to a much longer distance as well as the curve being reduced. So basically, just keep the long barrel as it is, except the max damage drop off just, ends way further, right? We've been here for years and the long barrel still sucks. Make it good, Ubisoft, please. I want to have a good long barrel. Just make it so that the initial damage drop off extends out way further, which is what the description says, but that's not how it functions. So yeah. Anyways, Maestro, after 30 shots or overheating, the camera is disabled. Well, not disabled. Let me rephrase that. The camera cannot be used. I guess that's the same thing as being disabled. Though the doors are not open. Not automatically be opened. And can be re-enabled by shooting a sensor at the top, much like the Syria gates. You're going to see a lot of ideas with these Syria gates. After Ubisoft introduced the idea of shooting a thing to re-enable it, I went full ham with it. I think they should have that for a lot of different gadgets. Same with Melusi and her Banshees, but it's after 10 consecutive seconds of the Banshee being active. So for Maestro, right? Say you shoot all, how many ever shots it is, until it overheats. If it overheats, you can no longer use the camera, you can't see through it, you can't look through it, you can't do anything until you shoot a little sensor right above the evil eye. Then you'll be able to use it again, you'll be able to see through it again, all that good stuff. And with Melusi's Banshees, you shoot it's the same, it's about the same sensor, right? It could even look the exact same as the Surrogate Gate. You shoot that little sensor, anybody shoots the sensor, boom, the Banshee is active again, and it can continue doing its thing. Sorry. Next, I really should have put this after this because these are balancing changes and these are new ideas. So let's do this first. Boop boop. So, next up, a new defender idea. I came up with a new defender idea. Uh, a new defender that can throw a robot, right? Hear me out. Don't freak out being like it's too sci-fi, right? It's actually a really good idea. So, her primary gadget or his primary gadget, I'm just gonna say her because in my mind I think it's a her. She can throw a some kind of robot that can act like a player essentially. Let me read what it says. So, a new defender that can throw a robot that can be controlled by that operator. The robot acts similar to a person and has the same health, mobility, and abilities as a two-speed operator, except it cannot go prone or use secondary gadgets. So it can, climb ladders, it can reinforce, it can barricade, it can do all of that good stuff, but it cannot go prone or use secondary gadgets. Um, while the robot is active, and the robot can have a gun, I don't know what gun, uh let's the 9 millimeter Sterling, right? Let's just say that the robot has the robot's gun. The robot has the Sterling SMG, right? The 9 millimeter C1 is what it's called in the game. While the robot is active, let me get rid of this capital T. While the robot is active, a blue light will appear in its head region, just as all CCTV items. Every CCTV item will have a blue light to signify that a defender is using it. Same deal. It is basically a CCTV item, but only she could look through the robot, right? It's kind of like how Echo used to work, where only Echo could look through the Echo drone. Now it's like that with this robot. Only she can look through the robot's eyes, with an asterisk. We'll get to that in a second. Um, When not used, it will stand where it was until moved, right? So if you hold it, if you have it sitting there holding an angle and you get off of the camera or get off of the robot's view, then it'll just sit there and keep holding the angle. But obviously the attackers will know that it's not being used because there's a little blue light saying that it's not being used. If an attacker is able to sneak up behind it, they can hijack the robot and take control of it themselves. Now, this is what I'm super excited about. You have to be smart. This operator, you might think, she has a robot, it's overpowered. But you have to be smart with the robot. If you put it in a bad position, then it could get screwed. It could get taken over. And now the attackers have a robot that they get to use against you. And that's why I really like this idea, because it can only work with a robot, right? Um, and yes, right, you heard it. They can hijack the robot and take control of it themselves. I love this idea, right? It's kind of like hacking the bad guy, the like little the dudes from Titanfall 2, or is it 1? I don't know. You hack the little robot guys and they work for you. It's like this. It's like that. But instead it's a robot that the person who hacked it, they get to control it. Now, um if the uh if the robot has not been hacked yet, uh Dokebi can hack into the defender's feeds and see through the robot's eyes. So they can, so like, if somebody else dies and this new defender, she's on her robot and Dokebi hacks into the defender's camera feeds, she can look directly and see exactly what the robot is looking at. She can literally look and see, okay, the robot is looking at this exact angle. Um, so yeah, you got to be careful. Dokebi now has a huge negotiating advantage in these specific scenarios. Um, the defender only has a secondary pistol, so she will only have a pistol. Which pistol? That's a good question. The M1911 Spec Ops, why not? It's only used by one operator, so I want to diversify the weapon selection. It really irrationally bothered me when they came up with Ace and they gave him the P9, literally one of the most used pistols in the game. It was used by 5 operators at that point. They're like, you know what? A 6th. Like, no, diversify some of your weapon selection. Give her like the 1911 Spec Ops, or I don't know, uh, M45 MUS MEUSOC, maybe, I don't know, Well, that's already used by 4 operators, or 3 operators. So maybe not even that. I don't know. Give it to someone. Give us something a little bit more creative, right? The defender only has a secondary pistol and no primary, right? They have no primary weapon at all. But she can pick up and use primary weapons from dead attackers. So if she kills Jackal, and Jackal has the C7E, she can kill Jackal and pick up his C7E and use it. He has all the features and functions of it. Now, if I guess I should have put a little bit more thought into this, because what if they have what if it's Nomad with the air jabs? How will that work? Maybe it's the same. She just can't use the air jabs. I don't know. Uh, in Glaz's what is it called? Glaz's flip scope. She can pick up Glaz's OTS Dragonov, but the SVU. Um, but she can't use the flip sight. She can only pick it up and have it with the one-time scope. Okay. All right. This defender only has the second. Yeah, I already said that. So asterisk. She cannot pick up Kali's CSRX because for whatever reason, in the promotional material for Kali, they said that it's like a biometric handprint on the gun, so that only Kali and Kali alone can wield and use the gun and fire it. So I'm like, okay, since they said that that's a thing, might as well make it so that Kali's CSRX can't be picked up. Why not? Because they said it, so sure. Another new defender that can place a health generator. Being within 15 meters of this generator will slowly heal anybody, attacking or defending, for 3 health every 7 seconds of being near it. Can be disabled by getting shot, but will reactivate after 10 seconds. Can be destroyed by explosives, obviously. So yeah, it's kind of like a health generator thing. If you're around it, you get health even if you're an attacker. You can shoot it anywhere to destroy it or to disable it, but after 10 seconds of it being shot, then it will reactivate again. It can be destroyed by explosives and melee. If you really want to destroy it, I don't know why you would destroy it, but you can. Actually, no, I don't think it should be able to be destroyed by melee. I take it back. Only explosives. Long barrel. Oh, wait, what? This? Oh, yeah, I said this already. Ha 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 ha. Blackbeard rework. This is going to be a big one. Instead of Blackbeard having 2 rifle shields, you will have 3 unique reinforcements. This reinforcement will act like a regular reinforcement for defenders, but will leave a little glass slit that both sides can see through, and Glaz and Kali can shoot through. You know how on plane, for whatever reason, the only operators that can shoot through the glass is Glaz and Kali? I want to implement that system onto every map. So now, regardless of what map you're playing on, if you have Glaz or Kali, she and he can shoot through that glass in this reinforcement that Blackbeard has. So not only are we bringing a reinforcement to attack, but with the special advantage of Glaz and Kelly can shoot through it and nobody else can. Obviously, it will create a bullet hole and then both sides can shoot at each other from it. Like I said, it works exactly like the plane windows on plane. Redundant that I said on plane, but yeah. Um, it is important to be cautious with this. Because he no longer has rifle shields, his Mark 17 damage will be increased by 25%, so that would be 62 damage down to 41 damage when unsuppressed, 52 damage down to 35 damage when suppressed. The recoil is increased by 10%, because obviously that's a lot of a damage increase, and it's fully automatic, so we're going to raise the recoil by a lot. Probably even for more than 10%, maybe even 20%, because it's a lot of a damage increase. The SR-25, which will now be used by Ace as well, will have a 15% recoil reduction, because want to make it viable. So, moving on to other operators, Nook. She will, instead of having the 612, because let's be honest, nobody in their right mind is going to be using the 612. That gun is not good for attacking. So, instead, she's going to have the K1A, Vigil's amazing submachine gun carbine thing. Because according to the South Korean government and the video game stats, it's a submachine gun, even though, in all, realistic worlds, it's a assault rifle carbine because it shoots an intermediate cartridge, 5.56. Anyways, her her gadget will now last for twice as long, and she is immune to proximity alarms and will not make sound walking through barbed wire, though she will still be slowed and it will still move. So, for example, if you have like a bulletproof, or if you have a camera and you are looking at the barbed wire, um, although you won't hear the barbed wire shuffling, you can still see the barbed wire moving around, right? So it still gives you an idea that, hey, Nook is there, which is actually a benefit of the barbed wire versus the proximity alarm, which the proximity alarm will completely ignore her. It will act as if she wasn't there if her ability is active. And since it lasts twice as long, she's going to have better opportunity to use it. Her 5.7 USG will be replaced by the SP SMG9 because the 5.7, it's overused. Come on, get rid of it. Replace it with the SP SMG9 because why not? She can either have the strong Deagle or the SP SMG9. I don't see a problem with that. SP SMG9 isn't even really that good statistically, but it's better than the 5.7. Clash will have a shield that's about half the size, has to be placed, and will shock enemies in front of them for the same duration. But a little switch on the back, on the shield, has to be shot in order to begin the reset. So very similar to my November 2020 ideas, except the big difference being that if you... It's similar to the thing with Malusi, Aruni, and Maestro, you have to shoot a little sensor on the back in order to re-enable it after it goes through its full duration of stunning people in front of it. So, since she no longer has a shield, her primary weapons are the SG, CQB, and the 612 because they're underused and they're really good. Callie's CSRX will now create holes with the size and consistency of about 1.5 times the size of Aruni's punches. So, yeah, she can make some big holes because the goal I wanted to make is that Callie, instead of trying to make her viable, I want to make her very utility based. So she can create big holes in walls. Her sniper rifle also can shoot and destroy bulletproof gadgets like shields, evil eyes, banshees, castle barricades. So she can just straight up shoot an evil eye 5 times and it will destroy the evil eye. And there's nothing the defenders can do to counter it. Same with the bulletproof shields, same with the banshees, same with the castle barricades. So there's not a counter to that. All DMRs will have the same destruction profile as the DP-27, so they can destroy studs, and they can make impulses and walls, they can very quickly and easily destroy hatches, which they already can, but you know what I mean. And can utilize any scopes, or can utilize the, I don't know why I said any scopes. You can utilize the 1.5, oh, Christ. The 1.5 to 2 times and the 2.5 scope on top of the scopes that they already have available. So, for example, with the SR25, it has the Comp M4S, the EOTech, and the Reflex, right? The RMR. And the 3 times. So, in addition, the SR25 will also be able to use the 1.5, small ACOG, the 2 times, and the 2.5 times. So, the ACOG. So yeah, good idea, I think, right? I was debating on if it wanted to have the same damage profile as the DP-27 or the TCSG. I think I'd prefer it to have the damage profile of the DP-27 over the TCSG, which to me makes more sense because the DP-27 that shoots a rifle round, whereas the TCSG that shoots a shotgun round. So it's a slug shotgun, but it is a shotgun round. So I think it makes more sense to have this. Yana's decoy will last forever, and can even be placed to hold certain angles where the real Yana can move around. It can still obviously be destroyed by bullets, electricity, jammers, etc. So basically the same thing I said in my November 2020 ideas, right? Warden will have the MX4 Storm instead of the MPX, which can be equipped with a 1.5 times. And by default, Warden will have I should say Warden, not the MX4. Warden will have Flak Jacket, which means he takes 10% reduced damage from grenades, as well as only being down from grenades instead of being killed. So regardless of whether or not he has Rook Armor, and regardless of how close a frag grenade is to him, he will only ever go down. And he takes the 10% reduced damage, so if he's, you know, like a meter away from a grenade, he will take 10% less damage than normal 2 speeds would. Um, Once again, regardless of whether or not he has Rook Armor. If he has Rook Armor, that stacks on top of it. So he has even more reduced, he's even more heavily reduced damage from frag grenades, and, obviously he can only go down. So, you know what I mean. He also doesn't need to stand still in order to see through smoke, because obviously, why is that a thing? He also resists the visual, keyword visual, disorientation effect of concussion grenades. So he will still have the movement penalty and everything. I think they removed the aiming penalty, but with the concussions, you're slower. I don't think you can sprint, or you sprint slow, one of those two things. Um, but you still have that effect, but he can see almost clearly. There'll still be a little bit of disorientation, just to let the user know, hey, you're disoriented. But he can see a lot more clearly than any other defender would, or even attacker would, if they were concussed, right? And this is not just from concussion grenades from Zofia, but also from Ella, if Warden just so happens to be in the distance, where in the range, and attacker walks in and gets concussed, right? Um, Anyways, Smoke's gas grenade. Oops, sorry. Smoke's gas grenade will be much thicker and harder to see through, giving room for Warden to use his ability in Tangent. So, on top of all of the things with Warden being buffed, right? Now you have these smoke grenades, these gas grenades, that are a lot harder to see through, which gives a huge advantage to technically Glaz and Warden, but obviously Glaz as a attacker doesn't really have much to say in terms of when Smoke's gas grenades is being used. However, Warden as a defender, he can be like, all right, throw your gas grenade right here. Smoke throws the gas grenade. He activates his ability. He can see right through it, no problem. But everyone else, they struggle to see through it, because right now it's pretty translucent. Like, you obviously can't see perfectly through it, but you can see much more clearly than with actual gas grenades, or smoke grenades. Sorry. Yeah. Ash, she loses the option for reflex. So currently with the R4C, you have the red dot, the EOTech, and the RMR, or the reflex. Um, so she's no longer able to use the reflex. Phone notification. She's no longer able to use the reflex, and instead of having an EOTech, she instead has the MH1. So, by the way, for those of you who don't know, um, the MH1 and the Comp M4S, those are the new Shadow Legacy sights. So, yeah, the new red dot is the Comp M4S. The MH1 is the Hollow. So yeah, because the reason why is because Ash is already very strong. Might as well give her a worse sight. Maybe that'll make her worse. Ace's M1014 is replaced with the SR25 because the M10 sucks. Why is that even an option? With how strong DMRs will potentially be, this will be potentially an actual option where it's like, oh, I have to make a meaningful decision. Currently, there's no decision. You're not going to use the M10 competitively. Glaz's GSH 18 is replaced with the Bearing 9. So in my November idea, I said, oh, it's going to be replaced with the SP-SMG9. This idea, I'm like, no, not the SP-SMG9, because that's being used by Nook, right? So, Bearing 9. Bearing 9's relatively, it could be used again. I think that would be a good fix. Finka can revive herself. And obviously, of course, because I've been saying it for years, we'll give a little bit of permanent health to her team. So, I want to stack on top of the idea, right, where was like, oh, the distance matters, right? Where was it? Right here? I think I really like this idea. I like it so much that I'm going to copy that over here because it was a really good idea. Hold on. Okay. Um, Scanning footprints as Jackal takes 20% longer, and the defender will get one phantom scan that doesn't actually scan them, but gives them time to relocate before they actually get scanned. So, instead of them actually being scanned, it just says, "Hey, you're about to be scanned," and that gives them like 5 or so seconds until they actually get scanned. Um, After the scan, Jackal will be marked once by the player who was marked, right? So if you are, well, it says it right here, right? The player who got scanned by Jackal will see where Jackal scanned them from. So it'll be like, oh, I got scanned. Jackal's about to know where I am, but I know where he is. I can see him right there. Of course, the Jackal, Jackal getting scanned, that's only going to happen once. Whereas, the player who's getting scanned by Jackal could happen anywhere from like 2 to 5 times, I think. Obviously, this is a pretty big nerf, so in return, Jackal will get one more mark on every scan. So with every, you know how you get like marked 5 or so times? Um, that'll be one extra, right? So if whatever it is now, you get one more mark with every scan. So if you get like marked, uh, if you would normally get marked 3 times, you instead get marked 4 times. Pretty simple, right? This one's a good one. If Fuse places his cluster charge and dies before he detonates it, it will automatically detonate after his death. This cluster charge can also be placed on a reinforced wall, and instead of shooting grenades through it, it will just create a hole. It will just create a hole about the size of Maverick's hole, right? So this is a big one, right? So well, let's split it into 2 parts, right? You have the cluster charge where he places it, and then if he dies, it detonates anyways. So you got to be careful about where you place your cluster charge. If you place it right above your teammates and then die, guess what? You'll blow up your teammates, right? But if he places above the objective and then goes to push the objective and dies, after he dies, it will detonate anyways and shoot right into the objective. So smart. Be smart with it. Um, Second thing, he can go up into any reinforced wall and make a Maverick-sized hole in it. This is actually a pretty big deal. He actually, technically, becomes a hard breacher at this point because he will be able to pierce through the reinforced walls. Obviously, it's not a big hole, and it takes a long time to set it up. You have to sit there for like a solid, who knows how long, like 3 seconds, pulling the pin out and setting it up and all that good stuff. Um, but after it does it, if you click right bumper after that, or if you press the activate button after that, instead of it shooting grenades through the hole, it will instead create a Maverick-sized hole in the reinforcement, and then Fuse can go back and pick it up, and then does whatever he wants with it. So he could either use it as a normal cluster charge, or he could continue over and over again to keep making holes in reinforcements. And there's no end to it. As long as he has one cluster charge left, as long as he didn't use all 3 of his cluster charges, he can just keep doing that as much as he needs to. I really like this idea. I really am a huge fan of this idea. Obviously, the big counters are that he can't do it on electrified walls, so it can theoretically get, uh, it can theoretically get bandit tricked, but obviously the big difference between the bandit tricking is that it's a lot shorter of a time. With the hard breacher, with the Selmas and all that stuff, you get a little bit of time to prepare. With this one, you don't have as much time to prepare. Obviously, you can still bandit trick, but it will be a little bit more difficult. This does not count as a use of his cluster charge, and he can pick it up, blah blah blah, or continue to use it to make holes. Obviously, he cannot use it when the wall is jammed or electrified. Yeah, so basically, that's everything I said already. Jaeger's ADS will no longer destroy frag grenades or EMP grenades. I think I said that earlier, but yeah, you get the main idea is that, you know, it can destroy everything except EMP grenades and frag grenades. Obviously, Wamai's, and that also applies, what I say right here also applies to the new um, secondary gadget, right? Because I mentioned that you have the new secondary gadget that is basically like an ADS, but uh, you only get one and it can only destroy 2 projectiles with a long difference in between. Obviously, because I want to still make Jaeger useful, but I want to give more wiggle room for other defenders to be able to do the same role, right? And it's not really up to me. I don't really know who's gonna have what, but I'd like the idea of there being another secondary gadget that can be used, right? Um, but Lamai, he can pick up frag grenades and EMP grenades. This new secondary gadget. Oh, I said Anet. The new anti-projectile secondary gadget, and Jaeger's ADSs will no longer destroy frag grenades and EMP grenades. If you were getting rid of frag grenades and EMP grenades, they can only be removed by Lamai's magnets. I already said this last time, but I keep thinking of it. It's a good idea. Amaro will get a 5% speed boost for 5 seconds after grappling into a location. It's an adrenaline thing, you know? You'd go in there, it's like, boom, I'm gonna kill them in 5 seconds of 5% speed boost. Why not? Next, Vigil will be immune to Jackal's scans when his ability is active, but his footprints will still be visible. So currently with Caveira, you have the ability to hide your footprints from Jackal, and if Jackal scans your footprints, he won't know where Caveira is. With Vigil, he'll just be straight up immune to Jackal's scan as long as his ability is active, much like Caveira, but instead, unlike Caveira, his footprints will still exist if his ability is active, because his footprints won't remove his ability for his footprints to be visible. His ability won't remove footprints, but they will remove the ability for Vigil to get scanned. Makes sense. Thatcher's EMPs will disable all the sights and laser sights of all players in the radius, including attackers. So makes sense, right? It removes the defender's attackers now. Let's make it remove the attacker's sights, the defender's sights now. Let's make it remove the attacker's sights. So you have to be careful. You got to make sure you're not within the range, or your sights will get disabled as well. And it will remove all the sights. ACOG, it's going to go away. 1 times, it's going to go away. 2 times, 1.5 times, it's all going to go away. The only exceptions are going to be Cali, and something else that I can't remember. Oh, and the 44 Magnum Automag, because those guns have like special scopes. So I think that those scopes are fine to stay. The other scopes, they'll go away. Um, and last but not least, Gridlock gets 1 more track stinger. So instead of her having 3 track stingers, she has 4. Simple enough. Let's moving on to the secondary gadgets. These are going to be the last 3 things, and then the video is going to end. I've mentioned this already in the November changes, but I just said it again because these are the February changes. A gadget for attackers that will give them 1 EMP grenade to destroy 1 wall's electronics for 7 seconds. So it's like a Thatcher, but it's like Thatcher's EMPs, but it's a secondary gadget, and it works for 7 seconds. So your window of opportunity is relatively small, and you only get 1 of them. So Thatcher will obviously be more useful in most scenarios. But if play your cards right, and also this will only disable Wall's electronics, right? So it won't disable anything other than anti-breachers equipment, right? So with the uh, EMP grenades from Thatcher, they will disable all electronic gadgets. They'll disable Mozzie Pest. They'll disable Malusi gadgets. They'll disable Clash. It'll do all of that. This secondary gadget for attackers, it will only disable Bandit's batteries, Kaid's electro claws, or Mute's jammers. That is it. It won't do anything else. So it's very situational, but If you know that you won't be needing a Thatcher EMP for anything else, you can bring this one secondary gadget and you have one attempt to not mess it up and actually get through that wall. So, be smart. Think before you do. Or you can bring this in tangent with your Thatcher, and you can, double check or triple check to make sure you actually get that wall. Next up, a gadget for defenders that will neutralize 2 projectiles with an 80-second delay between uses. We already talked about this. And a gadget that for defenders that will allow them to electrify 2 walls. So basically, they get Bandit's batteries. So Bandit, obviously, he has the advantage that. Oh, also, I think here's what I'm also going to say. The deployment time is much slower. So these electrified walls, right? Or with these secondary gadgets, you can't bandit trick because they take too long in order for the gadgets to actually be placed. So the deployment is, let's just say, 3 times as long as it takes to set bandit's shock wire. So, obviously, there's still going to be an incentive to bring Bandit because only Bandit, before A, Bandit has 4 of them. B, Bandit can Bandit trick, unlike with this, and C, Bandit is good. The point is, Bandit still is going to be relevant, but it gives a little bit more wiggle room. With just one operator. You know what I'm thinking? Maybe it's going to be just electrify 1 wall. Should it be electrifying 1 wall or 2 walls? It's a secondary gadget. I think it's going to electrify 1 wall. I don't know. It's hard to judge. I would have to test it and see how it works. So yeah, that's it for all the changes. We are here. We've been here for 56 minutes and 38 seconds. This is a long recording, but I think I've explained everything pretty well. If you have any questions, obviously I will be willing to answer them. Let me know what you guys think about these ideas. I hope that this gets a whole bunch of views and people love these ideas because I think they're good. If you don't like them, let me know. I mean, I'm obviously biased in what I want in the game. Everybody wants the game to be exactly how they want it to be, and I just think that these ideas would help out the game in general. It would help out most players, and that it would add a lot of interesting, diverse interactions to the gameplay field. So I'm all for it. Let me know what you guys think. I will see you guys in the next video, and check out, if you haven't already, my other video where I talk about the quality of life changes. I have those listed down here. If you want to read them, I got the randomized customization options, the key players active, all of this stuff. If you want to read them, go ahead. But if you want me to go into it, deep into it, you can watch that other video. I will see you guys later. Bye bye for now.